Hi everyone, thank you for joining us. And today we have Katie. I'm so excited to have her and learn from her. We are going to talk about CNCF communities. So I just want to bring this back that all of us have seen the CNCF Slack channel,
Mhm.
KubeCon, Cube Days, but no one really talks about the folks who are working behind this, all those community programs which are successful, which you can see there's like whole bunch of people who are working behind this,
Yep.
and today I would love to understand that from Katie, and that's why I've invited Katie. She is been doing the hard work behind, like, she's like, we can say she's the mastermind or she's one of the key person behind the CNCF communities. So yeah, thank you so much for giving time, Katie.
Yeah.
Would you like to introduce yourself to your viewers?
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you, Nancy. And I'm so happy to be here. I'm Katie Greenley. I'm the Senior Manager of Community and Engagement and Outreach at the CNCF. So my job is to focus on the community, developing community programs to help bring everyone together, and just kind of supporting the efforts that we make from a project standpoint as well as a larger foundation standpoint.
Wow, that's amazing, Katie. So, Katie, like for starting, would you like to tell me and all of us, like, how did you start? How did you exactly land up to the CNCF
Yeah.
community? What made you, choose this path, this career path of enabling communities, enabling developers, and enabling them to be creative?
Yeah. So I actually have been with the Linux Foundation for about 9 years. And of those 8.5 years, I worked on the events team. So uh, the beloved KubeCon that you go to or any other CNCF events. I was one of the event managers behind it, helping to produce the event and come up with creative ways that we bring the community together and really listening to the community from that standpoint of when they're in person, what drives them to be at that event and what's the most important portion of that event for them to be there. And from that, I kind of started to grow my love for open source in the community. Um, I was always kind of poking around in, you know, what are the ambassadors doing and how are the projects working and how can we make this experience better, not only just for those who are working specifically on the project, but for those coming into the community and how do they navigate getting involved. So that was kind of where that passion started to stem from. And then I started helping out with KCD's, Kubernetes Community Days, last year. And that's kind of where I started to grow a little bit more on the community um, engagement portion of it because KCDs are fully community run with the support of the CNCF. And after being involved in that, I just kind of realized that my passion was to help grow the community, help grow developers, help enable people to want to contribute to this community and make this community welcoming and inclusive and the best place for people to want to be in.
Yeah, that's amazing. We can see that, Katie. We have so many programs, and I mean, you know what? Like, I had no idea, like, till the time I became a CNCF ambassador and I got to interact with you. I just gave a thought that how is it happening? I mean, this thought of like how on a massive scale this whole contributor
Mhm.
programs are running, so many releases and then release shadows and release teams, and there are like different segments, I guess, and then different
Yeah.
contributors, leads. I have no clue how is this being organized and managed on a massive scale. So, do you have some views about it? Like, how is it being done by you and your team?
Yeah. So we're really lucky. We're a small but mighty team here at the CNCF with really great people who are super passionate, like I said, about open source, about cloud native applications in general. But they're also incredibly smart. So I feel so privileged to be able to work with such great people on a day-to-day basis. I think also we realize and recognize that we can't do it all because we are such a small team. So we do heavily rely on the community and the experts that are out there, and people who, whether they have been with the community since the beginning of 2015 when it came over to the Linux Foundation, or if they've been with the community for a year, everyone has ideas and thoughts on how we should be kind of running certain programs, or, you know, recognizing that maybe a certain project needs to have a tag to go with it that's more specialized on a certain area within that project. And we really harness and support the community to take that initiative and provide them the tools to do so, because like I said, we can't do it all. And nor do we want to. We want people to be part of this community and growing and feel invested in the efforts that they're making. So that's kind of how we run it, is we help to support great ideas that come through. We really rely on people who are the experts because we don't know everything. And we try to just, we try to initiate something. And if it doesn't necessarily work out, we learn from that and then reiterate either on it, or go back to the drawing board with everyone and try something else out. So we're not really afraid of innovation in that terms of going forth with a project or a program.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can say that Cloud Native has one of the most successful community programs, whatever it is, like Cube Days, KubeCon, CNCF Ambassador programs, and all the contributor programs. I mean, they are wonderful. And the best part is it is being run by the contributors, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
who are just contributing to open source. And whenever I think of this massive number, because like I was interviewing someone, like I was interviewing Sonia last week about her experience of KubeCon, and she mentioned that it looked like a concert to her. And just imagining the kind of efforts being put by you and the team, it's like amazing. But beyond that, Katie, I would like to understand, because we do talk about the challenges, like whenever, like as an engineer, whenever we go through problems, we just draw the thing that these were the challenges and these were the these are the wins. So throughout this community management and all the programs and all the creative ideas which you put, what do you think, what was the most challenging thing? Yeah.
There's a lot of different challenges when you're working in a community. Each subset of a community, right, is the best way I can describe this. So I'm going to go kind of leaning towards KCDs as an example. So each subset of like a KCD, depending on the region, have different needs and different levels of experience within Cloud Native. So what, say, a KCD in Italy is going to be different than a KCD in Colombia, or a KCD in Washington, D.C., or a KCD happening in India, right? All of these different KCDs are happening throughout the world, and each KCD and each community, local community, have different needs. Different needs, whether it's more training focused, or maybe it's a specific project that they are, that's focused. Maybe they're trying to build their diversity within that community. So kind of working with each of those different communities and helping them make sure that they're providing the best experience for their community is a challenge, right? Because it's not like I can just give a blanket, here's what you do in a box, and you take it and you apply it. We have to make modifications to best support those different communities. So that can kind of be a bit of a challenge in itself. There's a lot of different personalities and a lot of people who work differently, or different cultures come into play when you're working within a global community. So recognizing you know what that what that can kind of do in terms of the landscape of how you navigate things can be a challenge in itself as well. Am I wording it in a way that someone understands it who isn't native to speaking English? Did I word it in a way that they aren't going to take it offensively because I didn't mean it offensively, right? There's lots of different things that are a factor and a challenge when it just is working with a global audience.
Yeah, that I can imagine now. I mean, as you mentioned, because every region has different specific needs and the way of working. Because so I was at this conference in Prague, and the whole vibe and the environment was different than
Yep.
attending the similar conference in India. So I can totally imagine. Even the audience is different. Even the kind of interaction is different. And for me, being an audience, adapting to these changes is tough. But so I can imagine, like, being organizing and supporting these would be difficult too, and also figuring out that what are their needs, and
Yeah.
supporting them in that way. Yeah, that's really great, Katie. And what is one of that thing which you're really proud of? I mean, this
Yeah.
is challenge, and
It,
yeah.
it's a challenge. I think the thing I'm incredibly proud of right now is the rollout of the new ambassador program. Um, we had started the ambassador program, back in about 2016, and had brought in several people who were influencers in the community.
Mhm.
And then our program, we didn't evolve it, right? We just were kind of, uh, here's our ambassadors, and didn't really do a whole lot from a standpoint from us of how we can best support uh, all of our ambassadors. So we really listened to that feedback from the previous program and sat down and worked on what we could do differently. And I'm super proud of the program we have right now. We have 155 ambassadors globally. You're one of them. Everyone's super excited and super enthusiastic. Uh, I love that, I'm getting constant engagement from the ambassadors of things that they're doing or initiatives that they're coming up with that I think is going to be super cool out on the horizon for the rest of the year and going into 2024. Um, and I get to celebrate everyone's wins with each other, right? Because everyone's
Yeah.
doing such great things, and I get to showcase that and highlight it, um, and really support the efforts that all of you are doing because you're so passionate about cloud native. So that's a huge win for me, is that I feel like I'm getting to just elevate and be amongst, you know, the greats within the community from the ambassador side of it.
Yeah, that's really great, Katie. I just want to mention this. I've never shared it publicly. Like, so this is the power of community. So I just founded this community because of the fact that I was like a single woman. Like when I just joined the industry, I was single woman, and I was like, I was a bit shy at that moment, and I just wanted to come out of it. So I just came up with this idea, and then eventually it grew. And then there was one of my friend, Carol. She put the link for the CNCF ambassador in the community, and that's how I got to know
Yeah.
about this program, and that's how I applied. And this thing happened. So I just want to mention, this is the power of community, that it just reaches from one person to one another person. And because Carol was enthusiastic about it, she shared it with us, and that's how we got to know about it. So that's really cool. And CNC, and that's really awesome. I mean, hearing from you, because I can see you, I can see the efforts, and there are like so many CNCF ambassadors, and they're working enthusiastically. I see everyone doing something, and that's really great. So I'm just curious, Katie, like what changed exactly in the ambassador program, eventually over the years, which
Yeah.
which which you can see the success. Yeah.
Yeah, previously we, like I said, elevated people who were doing great things in the community, and had really influential voices that people kind of turned towards naturally, to help, guide them through the process of getting adapted into uh, the CNCF and cloud native in general. Um, and then from there, we kind of ran a little stagnant. Like, we didn't know what was the best way to move forward. So we had to stop and think about, what are the benefits that provide people to want to continue to be an ambassador and keep them engaged? And what is the expectations that we're expecting from an ambassador to be in this program? We want to support your efforts as well as ensure that, you know, you're continuing to be engaged as well. Um, and then, what kind of qualifications or requirements does someone need to have to be an ambassador? And I always say that in order to be an ambassador, because people ask me all the time, um, do I have to be super impactful? Do I have to have a big impact on the community? And my answer is no, right? Um, to be an ambassador isn't about, you know, the quality or the quantity of people that you are engaging with. It's the quality that you're doing. Um, right. It's just like if you throw a rock into the pond, it kind of ripples out and becomes a bigger effect. And like you just said, with your experience of getting into the program, was that you started, you know, cloud
Yeah.
native women, and you're kind of focused on that, and then you've got the link from Carol, and then you kind of decided to apply from there, right? And it's the connection that you made with her that led you to being an ambassador. And that's what being an ambassador is all about, is the connection that you're making with the community. It doesn't have to be this large grand scale. It's just that you're making an impact, and you're changing the way people are thinking about cloud native, that you're changing how they contribute, you're being helpful, you're being excited. And that's kind of where we made the changes within the program. Prior, it was kind of like you applied and we had it be kind of an open-ended application
Mhm.
season. So you could apply at any time. Um, and maybe you heard and maybe you didn't. We changed that because it wasn't working out for the team to be able to review all the great applications coming through.
Mhm.
Um, we changed, the requirements to make sure that we were being more inclusive to getting people involved, right? You don't have to be a contributor and super technical to be an ambassador or to be impactful within the community. You could be non-technical and you could be on the marketing side of things. Both
Yeah.
go kind of hand in hand and parallel with each other in the sense of making this community um, grow and to provide uh, information to people who are new in the community, or even information to people who have been in the community for a really long time. There are people who have been here and don't know all the things that we're doing. So that's kind of the major changes that we did, was, really thinking through, was what are we providing ambassadors? How are we engaging with ambassadors? And how do we get people to be involved, to
Yeah.
want to be an ambassador, and make it easy so that way people who are doing great things in the community can be highlighted as an ambassador.
Yeah, that's amazing, Katie. And whatever you mentioned, line by line, I was just thinking, and that's totally relatable because I just want to mention this experience. I remember, like, when we hear about that, hey, I'm contributing to Kubernetes. People just think that, oh, it's super technical. It has to be technical.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, when I became release shadow in just like the V 1.27 release, and I realized that there were like different segments to it. There was a segment for communication, for documentation, for the triage, for the triage. for the code and for the feature release. And if any one of them is not working, it's going to, like, the whole program, the whole release can flop. Because let's say features are being delivered, who is going to tell us about it, how to use it, and who is going to make sure that communications are being done end to end, so that reaches to the people. So we can see that how it goes from technical to the advocating to the marketing side. And this is something which I've learned from the CNCF community itself, like being a part of that shadow program. So that's really beautiful, and there's a beautiful work done behind that, Katie.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I mean, that's
Yeah,
really
you're
amazing.
welcome.
Yeah, yeah, that's really cool. So, yeah, so Katie, I just want to ask you, because you've been working since a long time in CNCF's
Mm.
landscape, what are the notable changes? Because I can see as a user, as someone who, but for you, what are the notable changes over the, over the years?
Yeah, over the years. I mean, I think the major change, right, is the amount of growth that this project has gotten and the foundation has gotten. Um, I remember when we first started, it was just a few projects. I think we had like 8 projects. Um, and of course, Kubernetes was super front and center at that time, and Prometheus was upcoming and was really starting to gain a lot of traction. Um, and then you had Helm coming in. So there was like a lot of really kind of like big heavy hitter projects at the beginning that were coming in, and then we started to really grow, and you started to see a shift in the different projects that were coming in and the different verticals that the projects could touch, right? In the in the past it was like, oh, it's all containerization and it's, very kind of B2B focused, and then we started to bring in kind of like telcos and uh healthcare kind of got pulled into there. So like we started to see that like the landscape of cloud native didn't need to just be applied to this like small subset of an area, but it could be applied to many different areas. And it really kind of depended on, right, what people came in and what they were passionate about and how they saw the vision of how the CNCF could be applied to different areas. And then, of course, all the new projects that come in and the enthusiasm that comes with them and how they interact on the landscape. And you never, I mean, I don't want to say never. You, it, the cool thing for me that's changed is not knowing what project might pick up traction next,
Yeah.
right? And what project's going to be the next, fun, cool thing that everyone's really um, kind of globbed onto and contributing to. It's been really cool to see projects like Backstage get some recognition, and WASM related projects get recognition, or even AI is getting kind of like up there, or observability based projects all have kind of these like cool, fun, like little moments that are happening right now, which is great to see it, and the enthusiasm that's coming from each of those different areas. Um, so that's kind of been cool to see that shift in the community, in the sense of like the different um, growth within projects and the fun and what each project brings to the landscape and the fun that they're bringing to it. Um, the growth within the team has been really cool, from a CNCF standpoint. Uh, it was really small, and I say that it's still really small, but it's grown, here on the CNCF side. So, seeing Jiffy come in and Taylor Dolezal come in, um, Joanna Lee, like these people come in and really help to grow the community, and the maturity it's bringing to the community. I think having each of these people be kind of in these different areas that have been needed, has been really cool to see that as well, because we are we are growing. It's just a reality, right?
It's
Um,
massive.
and and we need to put, more people in place to kind of see that fun,
Yeah.
uh, and not fun, but to see where it could go. Um, so that's been kind of nice to see that shift, as well as, internally, the the infrastructure that we're putting in place is having, a meaningful impact into the larger, landscape of CNCF.
Yeah. So it's like a house to innovative
Yep.
minds and creativity. It has become
Yeah,
the house.
exactly.
Yeah. That's really cool and that's really amazing. So yeah, so Katie, I think I would this is something personal to you. I mean, what would you suggest to someone who aspires to be into this field of community management and outreach? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What I would say is, if you're really into community engagement and outreach, get started by, joining a tag and helping to really, um, take on like a leadership role, or co-chairing things. There's a lot of really great things to do in the community,
Mhm.
and coming up with cool programs to help support the community in a whole, um, is a great way to start. Thinking through, what is missing, and what can I do to support and grow it and support people. It's a lot of people, um, it's a lot of people support,
Yeah.
being in the community, and being kind of, a really great listener, and a mentor, and helping to, you know, talk people through their ideas and how they get them moving forward. Those are kind of my suggestions, is just, take a moment, sit, ask yourself, what kind of community engagement do you want to do, and outreach do you want to do, and how can you get involved in that, and is there a tag that's involved in it? No. Can I start one? Yes. What people can I engage with to help me support to grow it? And then from there, as you start to grow and be more invested in being a player, of someone who's like, um, guiding the community, then maybe looking at, jobs that are open, right, within the community, to be one. There's always people who are hiring. Community
Yeah.
managers, are becoming a very, big and big and new role that is like really being highlighted in the open industry, like in general, for job openings. From what
Yeah.
I've noticed over the years, is like people are really starting to realize that they need someone that can help harness and engage with their community beyond just like marketing to them. It has to be someone who's got the development and engagement skills to be able to develop relationships with people, to build a better community, to understand like what does the community want, what drives the community, um, and how do we provide them information.
Definitely. I mean, like I can see that because like me organizing the
Mhm.
little very small meetups, it becomes very tough for me. I mean, there are so many challenges, so I can imagine that doing that on massive scale, it's tough and and it's good that industry is acknowledging the community manager, like as you mentioned, the need of community manager, so that they can understand the community, they can understand tech and their needs, they can listen to their feedback. That's like a whole job, like that's a separate
It
job.
it is.
Yeah.
It definitely is, and it's a well-needed job, like you said, because as a community grows, you want to be able to know what it is that your community needs, and, um, you want someone who's there, who's listening, because if someone's not in that role, listening and helping to engage with your community and bring back, you know, meaningful feedback, there's a chance that you're going to, lose people from your community and great people from your community, because burnout's a real thing, right? um, Feeling like they don't that people don't have a voice within, the beloved projects that they're contributing to can really be frustrating and
Hmm.
alienate people that they don't want to be part of it anymore.
Yeah.
So having someone in that role helps to really provide that feedback into your team to say, hey, the community is not going to like that, or, let me go ask the community what they think. And then um, moving forward based off of that. Now, I will say you're never going to make everyone happy.
Yeah.
Right. You're trying to make majority of the people happy.
Yeah, and that matters, I guess.
Yes.
I mean, like, yeah, that matters. So that's really great. Thank you so much, Katie. Even I had no, you know, idea about this whole thing, and after listening to you, I can understand that what's the hard work and the efforts and the whole planning and the management goes behind it. This was really useful.
Okay.
Knowing you personally and knowing about
Thank you.
this, the collaboration and the community building which happens in CNCF, it's great. It's great. Thank you so much, Katie.
Yeah, thank you.
Finally, if someone wants to reach to you, how they should connect with you?
Yeah, there's several different ways that people can reach out to me. Email is one of the easiest. It's K Greenley, my last name, like the color green, Ley at linuxfoundation.org.
Hmm.
You can reach out to me on the CNCF Slack. I have it here at K8T Greenley. Or if you really want to reach me on Twitter, you can do that as well. It's this KAT Greenley 1. But Slack and email is the best way.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Katie, for this wonderful session.
Yeah, thank you, Nancy. I appreciate it. And it's been lovely talking with you. And I look forward to seeing more people in the community, engaging with people, and supporting all your efforts because you're doing great things.
Yeah, thank you, Katie. Have a nice day.
Great. Thanks, you too. Bye.